America, fuck yeah! Coming again to save the motherfucking world, yeah! What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email. That's right here. But today, we are going to talk about this new album from Joey Badass called All-American Badass. Now, Joey, of course, is a 22-year-old MC from Brooklyn, New York, who made a lot of waves with his debut mixtape, 1999, and then with his debut album, Before the Money. I thought he came with a really solid project. Now, he's known for coming through with that boom bap style where he throws back to the 90s sound. So when he released the single Devastated, which is featured on this album, a lot of people were very split because here he was going with a more mainstream, radio-friendly sound, and he was doing a lot of singing over top of that production. Now, I do think this song actually fits nicely into this album, and that was something I was curious to hear because going into this, we all knew that this was going to be some very politically charged music that he was coming with. So how would this Devastated song fit in? Well, to be honest with you, a lot of this project is very smooth, light, and jazzy, so production-wise, it fits in that way, and he's also doing more singing throughout this album as well. For example, on Temptation and For My People, I think his vocals actually sound quite nice over top of the groovy production. And even though some of these songs are very accessible and a little bit mainstream, I would say that he's still bringing the content on here just as you expected. I mean, between those two tracks, you will hear him bring up how sometimes all people do is complain rather than taking positive action and committing to making change. So I like that he was saying that because sometimes you got to actually do something. I mean, all the time you should, rather than just being on social media getting all outraged, which is what most people do these days. And then on For My People, he spits that it's hard to be progressing through the recession and oppression. And I thought that was a pretty dope line just because if you look at America's history in particular, they have a very sordid history where there's a lot of shit that was done wrongly to the black community, whether you want to talk about atrocities like Black Wall Street, racist rules and regulations, the war on drugs, which was admitted by the government to target black communities as well as the hippies and beatniks. I mean, that was an article that came out quite a while ago. But I do like that he's bringing this political content. You can really hear that he's grown not just as an MC, but also as a man. Although I will say some of this content gets a bit repetitive and samey throughout, especially by the time you hit that 6-minute outro track, All-American Idol. But in spite of that, I still appreciate that he is expanding his message and growing as a person. I mean, the single Land of the Free is one of the album's deeper cuts where he really breaks down some of the issues in America, including just crooked politicians and a shady justice system. And then on the song Why Don't You Love Me, Miss America, he comes with this very cool concept track where he actually personifies America as a woman, and he's talking to her as if they're in this relationship where she's treating him poorly, just making him feel bad about his pride, erasing his history, not showing him love. So I thought that was a very interesting approach, and that made that song stick out a little bit from some of the other ones. But I will say that beat really sounded like Kendrick's track All Right to me. Not a banger in that sense, but just the instruments, the way they came together, it really does sound like a lighter version of All Right. But I think it's fair to say that this album was inspired by To Pimp a Butterfly, because ever since Kendrick made that, a lot more artists are really becoming more socially aware and bringing that lighter, jazzy production. Not to say Kendrick was the first one to do that, but we've really seen that trend within hip-hop over the past couple of years. Now, when it comes to the features on this thing, I gotta say Joey did pretty damn well. On the last episode of The Rundown, I talked about Rockabye Baby with Schoolboy Q, who absolutely snapped on that grimy piano production, so that was one of my favorite tracks on here. And even though Styles P didn't blow me out of the water on Super Predator, I still think he was very consistent on there because he's a veteran who's been at it for a long time, and anytime he pops up, he sounds all right. So he fit really nicely over top of that Static Selector production. But god damn, we have got to talk about the track Ring the Alarm. This one has this banging ass grimy production, has this thick pulsating bass that reminded me a little bit of Mobb Deep's song Quiet Storm. And this is just a bar fest, man. Joey, Kirk Knight, and Nick Caution all snapped on here, but I was disappointed that we didn't get a full verse from Michi Darko because his bridge and outro really stuck out due to that gruff and aggressive style he comes with. So that was a little bit disappointing to me, but still this was one of my favorite tracks, and I like that Joey did put one of these posse cut bangers onto this, political album. It just helped shake things up a little bit. There's also a feature from J. Cole on Legendary, and I know I'm probably in the minority here, but this track was just bland as fuck to me, man. This was like some oatmeal with all the flavor sucked out, and there's not much flavor in oatmeal in the first place. It's just a slow, plodding, jazzy production, and then J. Cole and Joey Badass just kind of go through the motions, do what they do, spit about spirituality, peace, some more political shit on there. So if you're a fan of both of those artists, I'm sure you were happy with that just to hear them together. But to me, this track just really didn't give me anything. So it was my least favorite track on here. And the last feature I would talk about is Chronix, who really comes through with this nice reggae sound on the song Babylon. And Joey is spitting very angrily and full of emotion on this track, which I thought was really dope, and it made it one of the standout verses from him. Well, the couple of verses on here. This was just a standout song to me. I like how he was rapping with all that aggression. And he had a nice line on here as well, where he says, "We're not getting hung from the same trees anymore. It's from the branches of the government." I thought that was some pretty clever shit, and that ties into all the pro-black and political content that he has on here. So overall, man, I thought this was a pretty good album, but I also felt like, as I said, it does get a bit samey throughout with some of these topics that he's spitting about. He doesn't really take too many different angles or approaches or get too deep and profound with it, but he is just a young man. I mean, he's only 22, so I think as he gets older and learns more, he'll be able to expand on that content even more. It just kind of seems like, I don't want to say he's scraping the surface, he's a little bit below the surface. Like, he gets in there a little bit, but he doesn't go deep, deep, deep down. Like, he ain't digging a well on this shit, but you will pick up on some nice things. I also felt like the production and all that singing made this project feel a bit too safe, because I think what would have helped this is if he came with more of a unique, distinct sound, man. Something that would really set this project apart from some of these other projects out there, because a lot of people are coming with this jazzy sound, that pro-black, political, social commentary, and I did enjoy this album, man. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5, but it was missing that punch, man. Like, it didn't really blow me away and smash me in my face like I was hoping for. I like some of the tracks. He's still rapping his ass off. I like his style and cadence, has some good bars. The beats are smooth and mellow. That singing is catchy, but really it just needed something to really wake us all up and smash us so that this would be a bit more memorable. So 3.5 out of 5 feels fair to me, but you guys can hit me up in the comment section and let me know what you think, man. And of course, you want to make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff, where you like my videos, you share them, you follow me on Twitter, you retweet the videos, and of course, man, you gotta subscribe to my channel and click like on that Facebook page. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.